Revenge, once a distant thought, became the compass guiding my every move. In this final chapter, my journey takes a dark turn. I orchestrate a plan of erotic revenge, blurring the lines between justice and vengeance. It's a tale of a man consumed by the need to retaliate, leading to a climax that questions the very nature of revenge and the possibility of redemption. Chapter 6. Twisted Revenge. A Scorned Husband's Erotic Retaliation. Months had passed since the day I walked away from Clara and the ruins of our marriage. The pain, once a sharp, ever-present sting, had dulled to a persistent ache, a reminder of the betrayal that had upended my life. I had moved into a new flat, a modest place that was mine alone, free from the memories that haunted my old home. Work had become my refuge, a place where I could lose myself in the mundane tasks of the day-to-day, avoiding the thoughts that lurked in the quiet moments. But the desire for revenge, once a burning flame, had not been extinguished. It simmered beneath the surface, a dark undercurrent that tainted my thoughts and dreams. I knew it was unhealthy, this fixation on retribution, but it was a part of me now, an indelible mark on my soul. I had kept tabs on Clara and Alex, a guilty pleasure that I couldn't resist. Social media, mutual friends, the occasional glimpse from afar, these were the tools of my obsession. I saw their attempts to move on, to rebuild their lives together, but it brought me no satisfaction. Their happiness was a bitter pill, a reminder of what they had stolen from me. And then, an opportunity presented itself, a chance for me to exact the revenge I craved. A mutual friend, unaware of the undercurrents of our past, invited me to a party. Clara and Alex would be there, a fact that was both a torment and a temptation. I wrestled with the decision, the part of me that sought closure urging me to decline, while the darker part, the part that yearned for vengeance, whispered seductive promises of retribution. In the end, the dark part won. I accepted the invitation, a plan forming in my mind, a plan that would bring my twisted revenge to fruition. The night of the party arrived, and I dressed with care, choosing an outfit that was both stylish and unassuming. I wanted to blend in, to be the observer, not the observed. As I made my way to the venue, my heart raced with a mixture of anticipation and dread. The party was in full swing when I arrived, the air thick with the sounds of laughter and music. I spotted Clara and Alex almost immediately, their heads close together, lost in their own world. The sight of them together was like a knife to my heart, but I pushed the pain aside, focusing on the task at hand. I mingled, making small talk with acquaintances, all the while keeping an eye on Clara and Alex. They seemed happy, carefree, a stark contrast to the turmoil churning inside me. I waited, biding my time until the moment was right. And then, as the party began to wind down, I made my move. I approached them, a friendly smile on my face, hiding the bitterness in my heart. "Clara, Alex, it's been a while," I said, my voice light, casual. They turned, surprise registering on their faces, quickly replaced by a guarded wariness. "Jonathan, hi. We didn't expect to see you here," Clara replied, her voice tinged with unease. "I was invited by a mutual friend. I thought it would be good to catch up," I said, keeping my tone neutral. We engaged in awkward small talk, the tension between us palpable. And then, when the moment felt right, I dropped my bombshell. "You know, I've been doing a lot of thinking lately, about us, about everything that happened. And I've come to realize that I'm partly to blame for what happened," I said, watching their reactions closely. They looked at me, confusion and hope mingling in their expressions. "What do you mean?" Alex asked, his voice cautious. "I mean, I was absent a lot, focused on work. I neglected our marriage, Clara, and you, Alex, I neglected our friendship. I can see now how that could lead to things happening," I continued, my words carefully chosen. Clara's eyes filled with tears, and Alex looked at me, a mixture of relief and guilt on his face. Jonathan, I... We never wanted to hurt you, Clara said, her voice breaking. I know. And that's why I want to move past this. I want us to be friends again, all of us. I've forgiven you, and I hope you can forgive me for my part in it all, I said, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. Their relief was palpable, the tension melting away as they embraced my offer of reconciliation. We talked for a while longer, the conversation easier now, the barriers broken down. But as I left the party, a smile on my face. My heart was cold, my mind racing with the next phase of my plan. This was just the beginning, the first step in my twisted revenge. I would draw them in, make them believe that all was forgiven, that we could be friends again. And then, when they least expected it, I would strike, shattering their illusion of happiness, exposing the fragility of their relationship. I would be the architect of their downfall, the master of their fate. It was a dark path, one that I knew would lead to more pain, more heartache, but I couldn't turn back now. The desire for revenge was too strong, too ingrained in my being. As I walked home, the night air cool on my skin, I felt a sense of power, of control. I was no longer the victim, the betrayed husband. I was the avenger, the one who would have the final say. And with that thought, I stepped into the darkness, the future uncertain, but my resolve unwavering.